Rustic dining room makeover ideas using old furniture transformed into farmhouse chic. Hi there, lovely friends. I'm Emma, your guide here at Decor, where we dive deep into the heart of interior decorating ideas and cozy home design inspirations. Today, I want to take you on a special journey, a journey that feels like a warm, sunlit afternoon spent in a countryside farmhouse. We'll be talking about how you can give your dining room a rustic makeover using old furniture, transforming each piece into something that breathes farmhouse chic elegance. Whether you're a longtime lover of all things rustic, or someone just starting to flirt with the idea of cozy farmhouse style, you're in the right place. This isn't about tossing everything you own and starting over. This is about breathing new life into what you already have, finding beauty in the worn, the chipped, the well-loved. I hope you'll find yourself daydreaming along with me, imagining how your space could bloom into something charming and soulful. One of the first pieces I worked with for my own dining room makeover was an old, slightly wobbly dining table that belonged to my grandmother. Rather than getting rid of it, I decided to give it a second life. I sanded it down to reveal the soft, raw wood beneath all those years of varnish. A simple whitewash technique gave it that unmistakable farmhouse feel, airy, light, and welcoming. The best part about rustic decorating is that imperfections are celebrated. Each scratch and ding tells a story, and instead of hiding them, you let them sing. Sitting at that table now feels like sharing a meal with generations before me, wrapped in warmth and memory. If you have a table like that tucked away, think twice before letting it go. You might just have the centerpiece of your new rustic dining room. Chairs were my next big project. I didn't want everything to match too perfectly. True farmhouse style has a collected over time charm. I gathered up a handful of mismatched wooden chairs from thrift stores and garage sales, each with its own character. Some were painted in soft muted tones like sage green and antique white, while others I left in their natural wood. For a little extra farmhouse flair, I tied some linen seat cushions on them, using fabrics that had that cozy, worn-in look. The end result was magical, a dining area that felt welcoming, lived in, and completely unpretentious. It's funny how furniture with a past can make a room feel so much more alive. Every time I sit down, I feel like I'm part of a story still unfolding. Now, no rustic dining room makeover would be complete without a statement piece. And for me, that was an old hutch I almost threw away. It had been sitting in the garage for years, dusty and forgotten. But one rainy afternoon, inspiration struck. I painted it in a distressed robin's egg blue and swapped out the hardware for antique brass pulls. Suddenly, that tired old piece became the crown jewel of the room, housing everything from my favorite chipped teacups to vintage platters passed down through my family. Seeing it transformed reminded me that sometimes beauty is just waiting beneath the surface, needing only a little bit of imagination and a lot of love to shine through. The lighting in a rustic dining room plays a huge role in setting the mood, and I knew I wanted something that felt simple, sturdy, and full of charm. I found an old wrought iron chandelier at a flea market. It was rusty and honestly, a little intimidating at first glance. But with a little elbow grease, a fresh coat of matte black paint, and some Edison bulbs, it became the perfect crowning touch. The soft, warm glow it casts over the table during evening meals makes the whole room feel like a secret hideaway. Lighting doesn't have to be fancy or expensive to be special. Sometimes the most ordinary pieces, touched by a little creativity, can turn your entire space into a haven. Decorating the walls was a quieter, slower part of the makeover process. I didn't want anything too modern or polished. I wanted the walls to feel like they were telling a story too. I gathered a mix of old wooden frames, some chipped and worn, and filled them with black and white family photos and botanical prints. One particularly special touch was an antique mirror I found at a flea market, its edges foxed with age. Hanging it above the hutch, it reflects the room's soft light and makes the space feel even more open and welcoming. In rustic design, it's all about layering memories, making the walls a tapestry of life lived and loved. Textiles brought the final layer of softness and comfort to the space. I draped a linen runner down the center of the table, frayed just slightly at the edges, and added a few woven placemats in earthy tones. The curtains were an easy DIY, simple drop cloths, hemmed and hung with rustic clips for an effortlessly casual look. I love how they filter the afternoon light, giving the room that dreamy golden hour glow almost all day long. These small touches might seem insignificant, but they create a feeling, a deep, welcoming embrace every time you walk into the room. Now looking around, it's hard to believe how many of these pieces were once destined for donation piles or forgotten in dusty corners. Giving them new life, making them beautiful again, gave me a kind of joy I can't quite put into words. It's not just about creating a pretty space, it's about honoring the history of each piece, celebrating the imperfections, and weaving them into a new chapter of your home story. There's something magical about knowing that almost everything in the room has a past, a soul, a whisper of history you can feel in your fingertips. If you're thinking about starting your own rustic dining room makeover, I hope this story shows you that you don't need a huge budget or a team of designers. All you really need is a little bit of patience, a lot of imagination, and a willingness to see the beauty that's already there. Old furniture isn't just old, it's full of possibility. Each scratch is a memory, each faded patch a chance to make something even more beautiful. And when you bring those pieces together in one space, you create a home that doesn't just look good, it feels good too. Thank you so much for spending this cozy time with me today. If you love this story, don't forget to like and subscribe to Decor for more dreamy decorating journeys just like this one. Until next time, keep seeing the beauty in the old, the worn, and the imperfect. And trust that with a little love, your home can tell the most beautiful story of all.